welcome to another episode. Now, today I'm talking to you about the positive changes that I have made to my life since living here in Italy. As you know, it's not always been easy, but definitely the positives far outweigh the negatives, and I want to talk about some of the changes that I have made to my life. So let's get into it, shall we? So the first massive positive change that I have made to my life since living here in Italy has been to the way that I eat. Now, in the UK, I just think the whole mealtime culture is so incredibly different to how it is here in Italy. We don't place as much emphasis or importance on perhaps where we eat or how we eat, or even just in everybody eating all together. Whereas here in Italy, especially here in the south of Italy, there is a lot more importance that is placed on meal times as opposed to what I'm used to back in the UK. And I think this has made me a lot more present when I'm eating. So I won't tend to watch something on my phone, for example. I won't tend to be doing something other than eating my food. And especially if I'm in company of other people, it encourages everybody to be in that moment, sharing their experiences, talking about their days, just literally being present and eating all together. And it's a really, really wonderful quality. And you know, it's not usual for people here to like take their food and go and eat in a separate room, for example, if they're eating with other people. Everybody comes together without their phones at meal times, and it's a really, really, really special thing. And even if I am eating by myself, for example, I will still set the table really nicely and make mealtime an occasion, because I never really used to do that in the UK. Sometimes I would take my food and I would eat on my lap while watching television. I mean, really, I got into some terrible habits back in London. So this is definitely a real positive change that I have made to my life. And also when it comes to the way that I eat, eating in the way that Italians do here has definitely helped me and the way that I feel. So for example, lunch is generally classed as the more heavier meal of the day compared to dinner. Now, as you know already from some of my other videos, Italians tend to eat quite late in the evenings when it comes to dinner, but unless you're going to a restaurant or you just simply haven't eaten properly all day, those dinner time meals will tend to be quite light. So they'll tend to be like maybe some meat or some vegetables or eggs or something similar. It's not usual for Italians to eat pasta in the evening, unless of course, as I've mentioned before, you're eating out at a restaurant or at some kind of gathering with your friends. Pasta is generally eaten more at lunchtime because it is classed as a more heavier food item, if you like. Whereas in the UK, it's the complete reverse. We tend to eat lighter at lunch and heavier in the evening, which is why it's probably better for us in the UK that we have our dinners a lot earlier for this reason. But I find that eating a heavier meal at lunchtime, as much as sometimes you're just like, I want to go to sleep now because I've eaten so much, you have the opportunity to burn it off more in the afternoon through where you go back to work or through just general activities that you have to do. Whereas in the UK, if you eat a heavy meal in the evening, generally the evenings you're kind of a bit more relaxed, you're not moving about as much, you don't have as much activity or things to do. So that food just kind of sits in your stomach and sits in you, and it doesn't make you feel so good. So for this reason, I'm very, very, very happy to have made this positive change to my life, because I feel that now eating lighter in the evenings, I feel better within myself. I don't feel like the food is just sitting on me. So the second positive change that I've made to my life since living in Italy, sticking with the theme of food, has been in what I eat. Now, I've already done a video, I'm going to link it above, where I take you inside my Italian food cupboard and show you some of the staples and treats that I eat over here. But honestly, compared to what I used to eat in the UK, now my diet is so much better. So consider now I eat less chocolate, I eat less unhealthy snacks, and I cook the majority of my food from scratch, Whereas in the UK, I used to rely a lot on processed meals, ready meals, processed sauces, all those kinds of things that you know are laden with salt and additives and all kinds of things that you have no idea about. So for this reason, I've definitely improved my life by being more conscious about the things that I eat now, and also having an appreciation and love for food in a way that I didn't used to really have when I lived in the UK. So I'm so grateful for this. I'm also really grateful as well because I drink less fizzy drinks over here now. Now, I do drink Coca-Cola stroke Pepsi, but I don't drink it in the same quantity that I used to drink it in the UK. In the UK, I would drink this drink like it was water in the course of a day, whereas now I will only limit it to like 1 glass with my lunch or with my dinner, not with both meals. So for this reason, I really am more conscious about, you know, consuming less of these types of drinks compared to what I used to consume in the UK. And I drink so much more water here now as well, like 2 litres minimum every single day. So for this reason, I feel like my food choices are a lot better. I mean, I still like my sweet treats, don't get me wrong. I am the biggest Nutella fan ever, even though I know it's probably not the best thing for me, but let's be honest, how many things in life really are good for us? Everything's got a risk attached to it. So for this reason, I'm really happy because now I've swapped out those unhealthy snacks that I used to have before with things like crackers or nuts or cheese. So for this reason, I think it's a huge positive change that I have made to my life, and it's definitely helped me to feel a lot healthier within myself too. The third positive change that I've made to my life since living here in Italy has been with regards to my behaviour. Now, I've kind of touched on this before in a video that I did a few weeks ago with Sabrine, a fellow Londoner living in Rome, and we were talking about how living in Italy has completely changed the way that we interact with other people. And I have to be honest, it's definitely made me a lot more considerate and a lot more friendly with other people. Now, I've always been really polite, I've always been friendly to a degree, but not so much with complete strangers. Whereas here now, I'm literally saying buongiorno to every person that looks at me in the eye in the street or talks to me in the supermarket or wherever I may be. Whereas in the UK, this would never happen. So for this reason, I feel it's a real positive change. I've definitely improved my interaction with other people, and I feel become a better person as a result of this, because the culture here, especially in the South, is very friendly, very warm-hearted, very kind. And for this reason, I feel that I can embrace it and be a part of it more when I'm receptive to that and I give it back as well in the same way that I receive it. So, you know, that's a huge positive change that I've made. And also, I'm learning more every single day to live in the moment. I used to be a really terrible future tripper. I would constantly be planning and thinking about what I was doing like weeks and months in advance. And don't get me wrong, there are aspects of life that do require that degree of planning, especially if you've got big dreams and ambitions and goals. But really, like when it comes to meeting friends or doing some sort of social activity, I realise now I don't need to be so like rigid in making these plans. Like sometimes the best moments I've had here have been when I have met friends like spontaneously, or we've just decided at the last minute to do something. And so I realise now that there is a beautiful ebb and flow in life where, you know, when you go with the flow of life and you just see what happens to a certain degree, you really do appreciate the beauty of life and you have some incredible experiences. And, you know, I have to be honest with you, when you're so rigid and fixed with your planning and thinking about the future all the time, sometimes you miss out on those. And so I'm definitely more grateful, even more so, especially with the pandemic that was kind of still in the process of, that I can be more present in the moment, because, you know, not being able to make fixed plans as to when I can go back and see my family, for example, has definitely made me realise that you just have to live life in the moment, because none of us know what tomorrow is going to bring or like next week or next month or next year. So for this reason, it is a really beautiful change that I've made to my life. And also learning just generally from the culture. Every day I learn something from the people that I work with, the people that that I'm friends with, people that I meet in the street, people in the shops. I learn something about myself and about how to live a better life every single day. And when you really open yourself up to where you're living, to the culture, to the people, you open yourself up to some beautiful life lessons. And I think that has been one of the most positive changes that I have experienced, is that I have really been able to look at myself and the way that I am as a person and identify the parts of me that perhaps aren't my best qualities or that I could improve upon. And learning from the culture in a way has really helped me to do that, because previously when I first moved here I was a completely different person to the woman that I am today 3 years on. And I think it's just because I had certain behavioural qualities and temperaments that, you know, maybe weren't the best, and I've definitely learned to improve upon that, having spent 3 years of my life in Italy. So, you know, lots of beautiful positive changes right there, and being able to look at your behaviour and, you know, really be like, okay, what can I do to make my life better? It's life-changing, just this. So the fourth positive change that I've made to my life since living in Italy has been to have a sense of pride about the country that I live in. Now, this is a tricky one because there are moments in the UK where you feel very patriotic, where you feel very proud to be British and, you know, to live in London or wherever you may live in the UK. You know, we have the royal family, like when there's royal weddings or there's some, you know, some amazing news. It makes you feel really, really proud to be British. But if you see homes with like the Union Jack flying outside or the England flag, more often than not, the thought crosses your mind that it's a little bit chavvy, or perhaps those people that are flying those flags are extremists. And, you know, it's a really sad way of thinking, but unfortunately, it's not normal for people to fly the Union Jack from their homes in the UK or to have the England flag flying unless there's a football match or something similar. Whereas here in Italy, there is a real sense of pride for this country. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not a perfect country and every Italian knows this, but there is still a sense of pride and love for the country of Italy. And, you know, you will see the Italian flag flying from the balconies and, you know, it's actually really beautiful. I don't look at those homes and think, oh my God, chavs. I actually think, wow, that's amazing. Like, it's so lovely to see people having such pride in the country that they live in and that they were born in or were raised in, whatever it applies to. And so for this reason, I think that's a huge positive change. I really do love living in Italy, and as much as it's not my birth country, I've come to embrace it as my second home. And for this reason, I have a real sense of pride. Like, you know, when Italy do well in sporting competitions, everybody was like, how did you feel about the whole England versus Italy? I actually wanted it to happen because, of course, it was a whole Ms. Britaly moment, but I was happy that Italy won because, yes, I supported England from the beginning, of course, but I was happy to see Italy win because it is a place that I regard as my second home. So for this reason, I had the best of both worlds, I think. But no, naturally, I feel definitely a lot more pride in where I am at the moment. And also, strangely enough, I have a lot more pride about having come from London as well than perhaps I ever really felt when I lived in London itself. Isn't that strange? I guess you can take a girl out of London, but you can't take London out of the girl. Maybe. Or maybe I just see the way people are when you say that you're from the UK and you realise, actually, do you know what? People do have a good opinion generally of the UK. Just like Italy, the UK isn't perfect. I've, you know, spoken about this at great length before in some of my other videos, including this one here where I talk about British stereotypes. But, you know, it makes you see your own country through fresh eyes when you see the way that people are when you talk about it, for example. But yes, a really big positive change right there. And the last positive change that I've made so far in my 3 years of living here in Italy has been to do with how courageous I am. So, of course, moving here in the first place took a great degree of courage, especially because I didn't speak the language when I first moved here and still don't completely speak the language, although it's getting better. And also because I didn't really know many people and it was my first expat experience. So there was a whole heap of courage that I had when I first began my journey 3 years ago. But having lived here for 3 years, having navigated my way through some very tricky situations, through some sadder moments in my life, and come out of it the other side, I've realised just how strong I am. And now to have these dreams and ambitions, especially with this whole Ms. Brittany concept, which I want to take a moment to say thank you. If you're watching my videos and you're supporting my channel, thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. Thank you for, you know, supporting what I do and wanting to know more about my life. And please feel free to share my channel with your friends, like and subscribe. It helps me a lot. But yes, it's living here for 3 years. It's given me the courage to want to pursue these dreams and these goals, and to see how living outside of my comfort zone brings me the best rewards, because every single day of living here is a day spent out of my comfort zone, whether it's because I've got communication to navigate, or whether it's because I'm doing something completely different, or whatever it may be. There is an element to life here every day that pushes me out of my comfort zone. But through doing that, I become stronger and I become more courageous, and it encourages me to keep pushing myself and pursuing and going after the dreams that I have. And that is a really, really, really beautiful thing. And so, yes, these are some positive changes that I've made. Have a look at some of my other videos. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video.